Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mouse Club podcast. My name is Marissa, and I am the host of this podcast. Welcome. I am so excited that you're here joining me. And if you are new here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to this to so you can be notified every single time I have a new episode every single Wednesday. This week, I am going to be sharing my favorite back-to-school movies and shows on Disney Plus and just in the world of Disney in general. I think you guys will really like this because we've done some episodes like this before and you seem to really enjoy them for like best movies for a particular season, and I hope that you guys enjoy this one. I think this one is great if you have a child starting school for the first time or if you're trying to get your kids excited. I know right now is a very difficult time for back to school because, there's so many different options with the coronavirus, whether you're doing virtual school or homeschooling or sending them to public or private school. There's a lot going on in the world and a lot of choices being made. And my favorite post I've seen was by Randomly Riley. If you do not follow her, she's the cutest little girl and she's on Instagram. Her mom, Jenny, I believe is her name, runs the page. And she was saying that Riley was not excited about virtual school and that she just really wanted to go back to regular school, and basically to help her feel better and help her to get excited for school, they refurbished a desk and made it all her own. I think that that's so sweet, and I hope that this episode can help as well if your kids are not excited about going back to school. Hopefully these movies can spread a little light and spread a little love, so I'm really excited about that. But I do have some Disney news this week, more theme park news. I need to start calling it theme park news because this always involves other theme parks as well. So the first thing, if you have not seen the video, a car crashed over the stairs of the Wilderness Lodge. So it looks like they were pulling into, when you go to a hotel and you pull up somewhere to check into the hotel, looks like they were there and somehow they went over the edge of that area and went over the stairs. That just, if you haven't seen the video, you can find it online. It just looks so crazy to me, with the car literally just hanging over the stairs at the Wilderness Lodge. The next piece of news I have is that Mandalorian Season 2 is going to be streaming on October 7th on Disney Plus. I'm really excited about this. I've been waiting for Mandalorian to come back. The first season was so awesome, and I'm really excited to see how they tie it into other parts of the Star Wars franchise. That's going to be really awesome. Something to look forward to right now because, guys, I thought that this pandemic was going to be over in May. Now it's freaking August. Oh my gosh, I'm so over it, as I'm sure everybody is, and it just stinks, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess something to look forward to now that football's getting canceled and Halloween Horror Nights is canceled, Mickey's Not So Scary is canceled. Something to look forward to in the month of October. Another thing that's going to be coming to Disney Plus, actually this Friday, so super soon, is, I believe it's a series. I could be wrong though. It might be a movie called Magic Camp. And it's basically about these two people who went to this camp called Magic Camp where they learned magic when they were kids and they were big rivals, and now they're going back as camp counselors and they're leading these groups of kids and teaching them how to do magic, and it looks really good and really funny. So I'm really excited to see that. So again, that's on Disney Plus this Friday. And then also for anybody who is interested, there is a new attraction coming to Orlando called The Haunted Road, and that is basically a contactless Halloween Horror Nights. So it's going to be a scare road that you drive through. I'm not exactly sure how it works, if you're going to drive your own car or if they're going to drive for you, because I feel like if you drive your own car, you could freak out and hit somebody. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with that. I think it'd be really fun. We're probably going to be back in Florida around October, so we might do that depending on the ticket prices. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there if you're interested. If you want to find out more information as they release it, that's on the Haunted Road Facebook page. And I'm really excited to see what they come up with to get us all in the Halloween spirit while also being safe during the coronavirus pandemic. Alrighty, everyone. So getting on to today's episode, talking about back to school movies that are Disney-fied. I'm really excited for this one. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I know we're all stuck inside right now, so I thought this would be another fun one following up last week's series about summer movies and shows. Now we're going to be doing back to school movies and shows. And if your kids are going back to school or starting school for the first time, I hope that these can help and make school that much more exciting. So the first movies that I have are Toy Story 3 and 4. The reason I picked these particular ones was because Toy Story 3 takes place at a preschool, and Toy Story 4 follows Bonnie as she starts. I believe she's in kindergarten. She might still be in preschool. And I think that they're so sweet, and these are really good for younger kids, I feel like, who are starting preschool or who are in preschool or kindergarten, because I feel like it's good for kids to relate. You know what I mean? So if you've not seen these movies already, they are so good. The Toy Story franchise is just so amazing and so sweet and heartfelt. And I really enjoyed Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. Toy Story 3 is probably my favorite of the Toy Story movies. It's a tough one between Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 2. But Toy Story 4 I was pleasantly surprised by, because I was like, why are they doing another Toy Story movie when I went to the theater? And it ended up being really, really good. So I was really excited about that. So Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 are the first ones on my list. Next up is High School Musical, also High School Musical 3. These both take place at the actual high school, and the third one is especially good. I feel like if you are graduating, that's something else with Toy Story 3 too, is that Andy's going off to college, so that's a good one for anybody graduating, going off to college. But yeah, High School Musical is definitely not the best representation of what actual high school is like, but I think that it's a really fun movie. And I think that there's a lot of role models that you can look up to in the High School Musical series, and I'm just obsessed with it. So High School Musical is a really, really good one. Next up is Descendants. If you have not seen Descendants, it's a Disney Channel movie about the children of villains and heroes from Disney movies, and they all go to this school called Oradon Prep, I believe is what it's called, and that's where the heroes' kids go, and the villains' kids are stuck on this place called the Isle of the Lost. And basically the first the first movie in the Descendants series is about Ben, who is the son of Belle and the Beast, choosing 4 kids from the Isle of the Lost to bring over to try to basically integrate them into society and into the hero's world. So he chooses the daughter of Maleficent, the daughter of the evil queen, the son of Jafar, and the son of Cruella de Vil. It's such a good movie. I love all the Descendants movies, but this one in particular takes place at the school a lot. Again, of course, not a huge representation of what school is actually like. Actually, pretty much not at all. It's about a fairy tale school with magic and kids of fairy tale creatures. So, but I still think that it's a really good one for back to school, because they're still going to classes and they have like this like football-esque type of sport. And it's honestly just a really good movie, so if you haven't watched it already, definitely add it to your list. It's so good, and the songs are just like, they get stuck in your head, you know what I mean? Next on my list is Onward. Particularly I put it on my list, there's not like a ton of school scenes here, but I love that Ian is like a little bit nerdy, and his brother, why can't I think of his brother's name? Barley, how Barley loves Dungeons and Dragons, and I think that this is a good one for anybody who is into those sorts of things going back to school, and anybody who's into the world of fantasy going back to school, because it's just a really exciting movie. It was so cute. I loved it so much. So I put Onward on the list as well. The next one is a series. It's called The Emperor's New School. If you haven't seen it, it is such a funny show. I remember it from when I was a kid, and I'm about to start binge watching it again. So it's basically, if you've seen The Emperor's New Groove, it's basically about Cusco going back to school. and it's really, really good. He's super spoiled, and there's another girl there who is super studious and tries to help him out. And it's honestly just such a great series, and I love it. And it reminds me of when I was a kid and playing the games online, and they're just so much fun. So The Emperor's New School, definitely a good one. It's a series, so it's a good one to binge. Next on my list is Monsters University. If you have never seen Monsters University, it is the sequel, but a prequel to Monsters, Inc. It takes place as Sully and Mike are in college. It's so good. It is so good. I'm trying to look back now on the Pixar debate I did with my husband to see where I had it ranked. But I love that movie so much. It is seriously so good. I don't want to give away a lot, but I love how it's not your fairy tale ending, I guess is the right way to put it without spoiling anything. It's so funny. There's a whole bunch of new characters, and there's a lot of twists in it that you don't see coming. And I'm a very big fan of it. Another good one if you're graduating or for kids in general. They have this music playing of like a band, like a marching band, and it's really cool. I feel like it really gets you into the back to school spirit. Next up is Inside Out. I wanted to include this one for anybody who has just moved and is now going back to school at a new school and doesn't have any friends, because of course that's what happens to Riley in this movie. And also, of course, it just talks about your emotions, and I think that that's really important for kids, especially going back to school, especially right now, with so much uncertainty and so many emotions going into it. I think that that's a really good one to watch as you are preparing to go back. Next on my list is not like a huge one, but I wanted to add it because I think that the main character is a really good example of a studious student. So that is Good Luck Charlie, and the main character, her name is Teddy. She is very studious. I think she's a great role model, and I wanted to include it because there's a lot of different extracurriculars and service activities that they talk about in this show, and I think that it is really good. It also talks about like helping your family when you're not at school and babysitting for your family, basically just about responsibility, and it's such a great show. I think that Good Luck Charlie is probably in my top 3 of my favorite Disney Channel shows of all time. It's so good, it's so funny, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. Next up is Geek Charming. If you have not seen Geek Charming, it is basically about this movie geek, is the best way to say. He starts working on a documentary following around the most popular girl in school, and he basically learns that she's not everything that she makes herself out to be, and she's actually very smart and very loving and caring. And it takes place at the school, but it also deals with the different groups in a school, like the nerds and the popular kids, and talks about like spring formals and basically just a lot of fun stuff. And again, of course, not the best representation of a high school. I mean, most movies are romanticized nowadays and in the past, but it is a really good movie, and I think it is a really good one for high schoolers or for kids as well. Next up, one of my favorite movies of all time, The Princess Diaries. This movie, I hope that you've seen it because it is pretty much a classic at this point. It stars Julie Andrews and Anne Hathaway. I mean, can you get a better duo? Let's be honest. So it's basically about Anne Hathaway when she is in high school. Not actually Anne Hathaway, but of course the character that she's playing. And it's about her finding out that her grandmother, played by Julie Andrews, is the queen of a little country called Genovia, and that she is actually a princess. And she's like very nerdy. She's not very attractive looking in the beginning, and they give her this huge makeover, and Mandy Moore is in it. It's just so good. I cannot tell you enough. And I know that it is very unrealistic because how many people's grandmas are going to come tell them that they are a princess? But it's a really good movie, and I think that it has really good messages about being true to yourself and being true to your friends, and it's just a great movie. So definitely check out Princess Diaries. The next one on my list is it doesn't take place at a school, but I think it's good for learning, which is National Treasure 1 and 2. These movies are really great. They're basically about treasure hunts of historical context and value. I'm not sure how many of the facts are completely accurate. I'm sure that there's some maneuvering in there, but I feel like it does still teach you a lot about history and about geography and other things of that nature. And the story's great, the movie is funny, and there's a lot of action. So those are really good movies that I've seen hundreds of times. And lastly on my list, had to add another little cartoon, and that is Kim Possible, the series. If you have not seen Kim Possible, it is an amazing movie. I haven't even seen the movie, but it is an amazing show. It's basically about a girl who goes to high school and she also fights bad guys on the side, and her best friend Ron is helping her. He's her sidekick, and it's just a great show, and so much of it takes place with at the school or on school trips, and I think that it is really good and empowering, especially for young ladies. And I feel like those kind of shows make me, or at least made me as a kid, make me want to do better and make me want to work harder to achieve my dreams. So I feel like that's why they're really good, and I had to add them to the list. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it for today's episode. I hope that you all enjoyed. And if you did not hear your favorite back to school movie or show, please be sure to check out my latest post on my Instagram at the Mouse Club Podcast, so that you can tell me what your favorite back to school movie or show is. And next week, we're going to have a very exciting episode. I don't want to give too much away, but I just want to say that you're definitely going to want to come back for next week, because we are hopefully going to have a very exciting guest. And I'm really excited for you all to meet this guest. And anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to check out our Instagram, like I said, at the Mouse Club Podcast. Please be sure to subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to this on. I hope you're all having a wonderful week, staying safe out there. And I will, I was going to say see you or hear from you, but you're really going to be hearing from me. So I guess until next time, bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Mouse Club Podcast. To find us on Instagram, follow us at the Mouse Club Podcast. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Mouse Club Podcast, or on our website, themouseclubpodcast.com, to find all of our episodes, links to our social channels, and our YouTube channel, which will be coming soon. To follow our host, Marissa Potts, that's me, check me out on YouTube, Marissa Potts, on TikTok at marissa.potts, on Instagram at Little Miss Maris, MRS Maris. Thanks so much for listening. See you next week. Bye.